The motion is adopted.
All I can say is this, because this law would be not good. Not good at all.
Completely untenable. You can't be a professional gambler in the US. But this will impact all the players, and it will impact industry. And it would be crazy if it got through, but it certainly could.
I mean, look, you're taxing people on money they didn't make.
Picture this. You are a poker professional. You have grinded for years to build your bankroll, mastered the mental game, and finally, you make a big score, winning $100,000. But here's the kicker. You also lost $100,000 throughout the year in other tournaments and cash games. Under the old tax rules, you'd break even and owe nothing to Uncle Sam. But thanks to a sneaky provision buried deep in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, you now owe taxes on $10,000 of your income you never actually earned. Phil Galfond says that this could be much worse than anything that's happened in poker. And Doug Polk is calling it a potential industry killer. Even Phil Hellmuth is desperately reaching out to senators to try to stop what he calls the death of poker in America. Let's start with the basics. On July 4th, 2025, President Trump signed into law the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a massive 900-page piece of legislation that most lawmakers did not even read before voting. Hidden deep within this bill was a provision that fundamentally changed how gambling losses are taxed in America. Previously, if you won $200,000 and lost $200,000 in a year, you could deduct 100% of your losses against your winnings. You'd pay taxes on zero income because you broke even. Starting January 1st, 2026, you can only deduct 90% of your losses. Using the same example, you'd only be able to deduct $180,000 of your $200,000 in losses, meaning you'd owe tax on $20,000 of phantom income. But here's where it gets truly devastating for poker pros. Phil Galfond broke down a real-world scenario that shows just how brutal this becomes.
If you are a high-volume player, especially if you are a professional, you, over the course of a year, make $200,000 gambling. You don't pay tax on that $200,000. Wouldn't that be nice if we could keep paying tax on that $200,000, the amount we actually made? But what would happen is, let's say that over the course of all the sessions that we played throughout the year, we won $5.2 million and we lost $5 million for a net of $200,000 that we took home. Now we would pay as if we won $5.2 million minus 90% of $5 million, which is $4.5 million, for a fake net of $700,000. So you would make $200,000 during the year. You would pay tax as if you made $700,000, meaning in almost everybody's case, you would pay more tax than you made during the year.
The Joint Committee on Taxation estimates this will raise $1.2 billion over the decade, but tax experts are warning the real cost to the gaming industry could be catastrophic. What makes this situation even more infuriating is how it happened. According to Nevada Senator Catherine Cortez, who spoke directly with Doug Polk, this provision was added through budget gimmickry by Republican leadership trying to raise revenue somewhere.
It was a Republican tax bill that was shifting. It really shifts a lot of wealth from the hard-working individuals to billionaires. And its impact is about $4 trillion to our deficit. But the Republicans didn't want to show that they were adding to that deficit, so they had to hide it somehow. So they had to do some budget gimmickry. And part of that budget gimmickry was try to raise revenue somewhere, and this got caught up in the middle of it. This was done behind closed doors like the rest of the bill. Had we known this was happening, I think we could have stopped it ahead of time.
Senator Ted Cruz, who actually plays poker and has appeared on shows like Poker After Dark, echoed this sentiment. He told his audience that many Republicans who voted for the bill had no idea this provision was included. No one seems to take responsibility for its introduction. None of us were aware of it, Cruz said. The reaction from the poker and the entire gaming community has been swift and fierce. Professional poker players immediately recognized this as an existential threat to their livelihoods. High roller poker player Chris Brewer summed up the sentiment. It was fun having a job.
All I can say is this. I'm going to do everything I can to help make sure this isn't a reality or a problem. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I'm going to do everything I can. You got to do what you got to do. Because this law would be, from what I understand of it, but what this means for the casino industry, for gambling, it doesn't matter what, like the economy, not good at all.
But perhaps most surprisingly, the American Gaming Association, the industry group that is supposed to represent gamblers' interests, actually praised the bill when it passed. In a tone-deaf tweet that they immediately disabled comments on, the AGA wrote, "We commend congressional leaders on the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Fortunately, some lawmakers are firing back. Senator Catherine Cortez has introduced the Full House Act to restore the 100% deduction. On July 10th, she tried to fast-track the bill through the unanimous consent, but it was blocked by Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young. In the House, Congresswoman Dina Titus has introduced the Fair Bet Act with bipartisan support. Most importantly, Ted Cruz has joined the fight. According to Phil Hellmuth, Cruz is fighting to eliminate the poker players' debt tax and is leading Republican efforts to reverse the provision. This isn't just about poker players. The tax change affects all forms of gaming, including sports betting, daily fantasy sports, and casino games. What's the incentive to participate in those tournaments when the government is going to dock you 10%? Fox explained. Senator Cortez echoed these concerns in her interview with Polk.
And most importantly, if we do not address this, the concern is a lot of these great events, the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas, they could take it offshore somewhere else, right? Illegal gaming, illegal wagering could be taken offshore somewhere else.
This could devastate Las Vegas that depend on high-volume players and major tournaments. The economic ripple effects could be massive. Nevada's gaming industry supports nearly a third of the jobs in the state and generates billions for the local economy. If professional players are pushed out of the business or forced offshore, it wouldn't just hurt the players, it will hurt the dealers, casino workers, hotel staff, and everyone else who depends on the economy. The clock is ticking. These changes take place January 1st, 2026, giving Congress less than 6 months to act. Passing standalone legislation is notoriously difficult, especially in today's political climate. Russell Fox gave the repeal effort only a 25% chance of success by the end of 2025. However, there are reasons for cautious optimism. The bipartisan nature of the opposition is encouraging, and the fact that many Republicans now admit this was a mistake could help build momentum for a fix. As Congresswoman Titus noted, this issue has generated more constituent response than major issues like medical cuts or food stamp reductions. The gaming community's ability to mobilize and make their voices heard could be crucial in determining the outcome. If you are a poker player, starting in 2026, you could face a significant tax burden even in break-even or losing years. The higher your volume of play, the more severe the impact will be. Professional players may find their careers financially unviable, while recreational players who itemize their tax deductions could face unexpected tax bills. The poker world is fighting back, but we need everyone's help. Contact your representatives and support the organizations working to reverse this harmful provision. The future of poker in America may literally depend on it.